Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for the weekly, semi-weekly kind of quickie segment where I talk about a bunch of songs and releases that I haven't gotten a chance to speak on, but I kind of want to just touch down on them in a video. Like I said, I typically call this thing the quickie, quickness, quick segment, but it's never really that quick to even watch or do, but I'm going to try to make it quick this time. For the sake of my buddy Jeremy, who's going to be editing this thing. Love you. All of these things are linked in the description. Let's go. Mudhoney has a new music video and track out called I Like It Small. Not only is the song just, got that alt-rock classic 90s riffy quality to it, but the music video is really clever. It's out there. It's got a lot of sort of visual humor to it that I dig a lot. Cold Cave also has a gothy, tortured, dark, cold wave post-punk new single out called God Made the World, and boy is it catchy and just depressing. Also SEENMR, SEENMR? I don't know how to say that, but anyway, this person has a new collection of beats out called the Chinatown tape. And it's a colorful set of instrumentals that are psychedelic, they're sort of hypnotic, they're kind of long, they're spacey, they're out there. Lo-fi, garage rock, fuzz rock, multi-instrumentalist. Mikal Cronin has a new track out called Wait as well. It's a bit of a piano ballad, more melodic and just more ballad-like than you would expect from him, but it's actually an incredibly catchy and sweet tune. And also, make sure to stream the new Doppelgangaz LP, Hark, if you're looking for some moody, boom-bap, New York 90s inspired hip-hop. I'm definitely planning on getting a little bit deeper into this album before I say anything more on it. And it has been 30 years this year since the release of Huey, Lewis, and the News' Sports. And how is that being celebrated? Funny or Die put up a hilarious video of Huey Lewis and Weird Al parodying the infamous axe murder scene from American Psycho. It's freaking funny as hell. One of the funniest things I've ever seen ever in my life. Also, this album is 10. This album is 10 years old. It's 10. This LP, Anxiety, an album of alternative pop and R&B. So if you're into that style, if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check it out. But for me personally, I'm not really feeling the vocals on this album no matter how many times I return to it. I just cannot get into the vocals. I don't think they're particularly good in terms of being able to hit a pitch or improvise, throughout kind of improvisations as well. Nothing on this album vocally really moves me in a good way. If it moves me anywhere, it's just away from the album. For sure, the overall aesthetic of Anxiety and a lot of the beats and the synths on this thing are different, and I feel like the fact that this album is kind of alternative, it does get a pass for embracing a lot of those corny 80s cliches and not having the best vocals in the world. And I'm not saying that's, a cop-out or anything like that. I definitely accept that this album does have its merits because it does different things with these old pop and R&B ideas. There are some likable slow jams on this thing, like the song Counting, and there are other tracks on here that are just sort of weird and have a strange flair to them and definitely musically think outside of the box, but I just really can't get past the vocals. Maybe they will appeal to me more on future releases. This new Pete Swanson is basically a combination of experimental techno and house music and harsh noise. This is not a road a lot of people go down, but the way these elements come together on this EP, it's kind of obvious. There are 4 tracks on this thing. They range from 5 to 12 minutes, though Pete Swanson has toyed with this idea in various ways on previous releases. The fact that this one is a little bit shorter does make it kind of easier to digest. And I will say that this is the most interesting he's sounded so far doing this thing, but still, I don't really find it incredibly moving or interesting in terms of song structure or anything like that. To me, it just kind of sounds like an electronic song maybe I could hear anywhere, but maybe just overmodulated and distorted and fuzzed out. The new Fat History Month LP, Bad History Month. This is an indie rock album that pays tribute to really the old world of indie rock. Pavement to Silver Jews, a little bit of Modest Mouse, maybe some Built to Spill, maybe a little bit of Smog. There's an indie rock and indie folk blend on this thing, a lot like that Pile album I reviewed last year, Dripping. This album actually comes off of the same record label. While I wasn't completely enthralled with the songwriting on this LP, it is a decent release. It does have these classic indie rock and indie folk characteristics. They're pulled together nicely. If you're looking for a little bit more in this style, then definitely check this thing out, because it's not bad. Wayne Shorter, Without a Net. This dude is a jazz great, a jazz monster, awesome horn player. Dude totally left over from like Miles Davis, Bitches Brew era, fusion. I mean, this dude, he contributed so much to jazz music around that time, and he is still an amazing player at 80 years old. Not only are his solos just really fast, they're intricate, but he surrounds himself with some awesome musicians on this album as well. And together they just create a very interesting and electrifying live recording. Wayne and his collaborators are still there compositionally as well on this album, dishing out some challenging stuff like the very sinister opening track on this album, or the very rigid and tight and kind of relentless SS Goldmean with just the pianos. Very staccato. It's a quick piece. It's an intense piece. He's still trying to push himself into new places, and that's what makes this album so impressive. Personally, I feel like the recording leaves a little bit to be desired, but the performances, the writing, the pieces, they're all there. The new Black Puss LP, All My Relations. Black Puss is essentially the solo project of music producer, singer, drummer Brian Chippendale, one half of the noise rock outfit Lightning Bolt. And while I did casually enjoy some previous releases from Black Puss, I was kind of disappointed with this new album in just kind of finding that it felt like essentially a Lightning Bolt album without the other half of Lightning Bolt. Essentially, the drum patterns are there. Maybe Brian goes a little bit crazier with his vocals at times, but there are all these sort of distorted, heavy bass rumbles as if you're hearing the other member of Lightning Bolt's bass playing on the track. But instead, it sounds as if these sounds are being sampled or triggered in some kind of way with maybe a drum pad or something while he's playing, or maybe they're added in post-production, I'm not sure. However it's assembled or performed isn't really, at the top of my head. What's kind of bugging me about this LP is like I said, it just feels like a Lightning Bolt record, but without that strong melodic or creative riff element that typically the band will bring to the table through albums like Hyper Magic Mountain and Wonderful Rainbow. And without that there, I guess Brian would be free to kind of explore other things and ideas, but it doesn't really seem that on this album he realizes anything by himself. So yeah, that's it. Those are my quickies for this week. If you've given any of these albums a listen, what did you think of them? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, quickies forever.